Okay, let's dive in. You sent over some really interesting sources about indoor air quality.
Yes, focusing specifically on a system from RGF Environmental Group, the Remy Halo.
Right, the one offered by companies like Hartzell's Heat and Air that you highlighted.
Exactly. It's a popular choice for whole home air purification.
So our mission today is basically to unpack this Remy Halo system. What is it really? How's it supposed to work?
And the big question is, what does it cost? And what could it actually mean for the air inside your home?
The core idea seems, well, pretty neat, taking how nature cleans air outside.
And bringing that process indoors, integrated right into your heating and cooling system, your HVAC.
Which is key, because the sources kept pointing out that indoor air can be, 5 times more polluted than outside air?
That's a common statistic, yeah.
Yeah.
We seal our homes up tight, which is good for energy bills, but it traps pollutants. They just recirculate.
Okay, so this Remy Halo thing, how does it fight that? They call it active cleaning.
Right. So unlike your standard filter that just sits there waiting for air to pass through.
Passively.
Passively, exactly. This unit gets installed in your ductwork, and it actively sends out purifiers into your living space.
Sends out purifiers. Like what? How does it make them?
It uses a combination of high-intensity UVC light and a special catalyst.
Okay.
And when air flows past that, the reaction creates low, safe levels of airborne hydrogen peroxide.
Hydrogen peroxide, like the stuff in the brown bottle.
Sort of, but we're talking very low, naturally occurring concentrations, similar to what the sun does outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And it also creates ions.
Ions. Okay, so you've got hydrogen peroxide and ions floating around the house. What do they actually do?
Well, think of them as little cleaning agents. They drift through the air, bump into pollutants, things like bacteria, viruses, mold spores.
Odors, VOCs.
Yes, odors, VOCs, those chemical gases from paints or cleaners. When these agents make contact, they basically break the pollutants down, neutralize them, right there in the room, not just in the ducts.
So it's not just filtering, it's actively attacking pollutants in the air. What about surfaces? I thought I saw something about that.
You did. That's another interesting aspect. The system also uses ionized zinc. And lab tests mentioned in the sources show this can kill, I think it was 99% of viruses on surfaces it comes into contact with.
Wow, okay, so air and surfaces, that's quite comprehensive. And it helps with regular dust and stuff, too.
Yeah, that's the other piece. It has dual ionizers. They put an electrical charge on tiny particles, dust, dander, pollen, the really small stuff.
The stuff that usually just flies right through the filter.
Exactly. But once these particles are charged, they start sticking together. They agglomerate, forming bigger clumps.
And then your main HVAC filter can actually catch them.
Precisely. So you get better filtration performance from your existing filter without needing some super high-end airflow restricting filter necessarily.
The numbers mentioned were pretty striking, up to 99% reduction for bacteria, mold, viruses, and something about sneeze germs.
Yes, neutralizing 99% of sneeze germs within 3 feet. It gives you an idea of how quickly it acts in the immediate space. It really paints a picture of active whole home treatment.
Okay, it sounds impressive on paper. Let's talk practicalities. The cost, what are we looking at?
Based on the sources, the typical installed cost that's the unit plus professional installation seems to land around $1,000, give or take, of course.
About $1,000? Is that it, or is there ongoing upkeep?
There is. The main thing is the UV bulb, the core cell. That needs replacing roughly every 2 years.
And that costs?
The sources suggest that replacement part is usually around $450. So that's a recurring cost to factor in.
Got it. So initial 1K-ish, then about $450 every couple of years. Now, I also saw mention of a Halo LED version. How's that different?
Ah, yes, the Halo LED. That's positioned as the, let's say, next generation model.
Yeah.
It uses LED UVC light instead of a traditional bulb.
What's the benefit there?
A couple of things. It's more energy efficient because the LEDs only turn on when your system's fan is running. And the LED cell itself lasts much longer, maybe 2.5 times longer than the standard bulb.
So potentially lower running costs and less frequent replacement?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
And a big point for some people, the ozone output.
Right. Does the standard one produce ozone?
The standard Reme Halo produces a very small amount of ozone, yes. The sources state it's within safe levels, similar to what you'd find naturally outdoors. But the Halo weed
Is zero ozone.
Correct. It's verified as zero ozone compliant. It also doesn't contain mercury, unlike traditional UV bulbs, and has a washable catalyst. So it's often seen as a slightly more eco-friendly, maybe technologically advanced option.
Okay, interesting trade-offs there. So let's try to wrap this up.
Sounds good.
We've been looking at the Reme Halo, which, as we saw, companies like Heart Cells offer. It's an active, whole-home air purifier that goes right into your HVAC system.
And its whole goal is to significantly cut down on contaminants, airborne stuff, like viruses and bacteria, plus surface pathogens, odors, VOCs, throughout your entire house by mimicking natural processes.
The cost we saw was roughly $1,000 installed, with that ongoing $450 bulb replacement every 2 years for the standard model.
And then there's the Halo LED alternative, offering zero ozone, better energy efficiency, and a longer lifespan for its purification cell, though likely at a different initial price point.
So it really comes down to weighing those potential benefits. The whole home coverage, the active cleaning, the reduction in all these different contaminants.
Against the initial investment and that recurring maintenance cost.
Right. Which brings us back to that initial point you made. If our indoor air really can be, say, 5 times dirtier than outside, how much difference could proactively treating that air inside your own home make to your daily life? Not just comfort, but maybe even how you feel day to day.
That's the big question, isn't it? Something definitely worth thinking about.